Okay, today's morning medicine is carbolic acid, which is another part in the carbon remedies. I did carbo veg, carbo animalis, and now this one is a little different. It is carbolic acid, which is uh, Carbolicum acidicum or acidum. Do I have that right? Yeah, there's no acidum. There's no C in it, and I probably wrote it wrong on the intro to this, but carbolic acid. Carbolic acid, like the carbons, is a powerful antiseptic, just like carbo-veg and carbo-animalis. They both have the septic situation there too. And its use as such in surgery has led incidentally to the poisoning of both patients and surgeons. So they were using it to sterilize their instruments and things like that. And it has led to these the surgeons and the patients getting you ain't going out, kitty cat, to get poisoned by it. These experiences have provided a number of symptoms indicating its medicinal use. And that's what I always say. You know, we get uh, indications of what different substances are good for, whether herbally or whatever. Herbally, we usually get it from the indigenous people that have been using them for years, and we find out, you know, that what they're using it for, and then we take that substance, we make a homeopathic medicine out of it, give it to a bunch of people till they get symptoms or get poisoned by it. They're not really poisoned, they're just their bodies reacting to what I put in them, or what the prover, the people that are doing the experiment, put in them. And then they get these symptoms and they write them down, and then they antidote it, and there is antidotes to all these homeopathically. um R.K. Gosh, a homeopath, I guess, finds it admirable in cases of cholera, where veratium doesn't seems indicated and fails. So they got cholera, they're given veratium for it, and it doesn't work. The symptoms, obviously, I didn't look up veratium and see what the symptoms are, but they obviously must be close in some aspects. There's intolerance of warm rooms, but also sensitive to cold air. So they don't like to have that cold air, but they can't take being in total warm rooms, which the cold air makes many symptoms worse, and the warm room just aggravates them. Dr. Proctor has recorded a brilliant cure of a double basal pneumonia. That just means pneumonia in both lungs, rather than you could have pneumonia in one lung or both lungs, with drop doses of BP solution after failure of more commonly used medicines. Uh, Blood pressure. That's what the BP is. I couldn't think of it for a minute. They have a solution for and blood pressure and pneumonia, and that is a big thing. So they were using a blood pressure solution that they had after they were given different remedies that they thought were indicated, wasn't working. They gave that blood pressure solution. Nervous dyspepsia of intensely painful character has frequently been cured by it. So I don't know what's in that blood pressure solution, but K. Gosh has reported great improvement in the case of diabetes when the remedy was given for something else. Okay, so that's an incidental cure, like I had with the lady. She went in for surgery, and she was a friend of my wife's, and I said, "Here, take these couple things." It was like I want to say calendula, hypericum for the nerve pain. I don't know why I gave her symphytum, but giving her symphytum later on, told my wife, she said, my TMJ's gone. And I talked to her and I said, well, did you have a car accident, a head injury, something? She said, yeah, I had a car accident. And then after that, I got TMJ. Nat Sulf is great for old head injuries. Cleared up her TMJ. So this guy had an incidental cure. He was given carbo carbolic acid. He was given that for some other symptoms or illness that this person had, and the diabetes cleared up. So Proel, so it's good for diabetes too. Proel, another one, has recorded his own case of idiopathic erysipelas, and that's skin infections affecting the back of the right hand, first three fingers and arm, with violet colored swellings and roughness. Russ Tox, which is a great skin remedy, removed the fever with that, and this is a septic condition from this, but did nothing to stop the erysipelas. This carbolic acid 30C did promptly cure it. I get, I'm still want to say carbonic acid. There's a carbonic acid. I keep almost saying the wrong one, but this is carbolic acid. Great for septic conditions, and that's why they used it as a disinfectant. And it's in the carbon type of remedies, which the carbo veg and carbo animalis all had the septic symptom ability to cure septic stuff. Carbolic acidum, prostration, increased olfactory sensibilities, the nose. So their smell, I mean, it's just really acute for them. They really can smell things very much. Acute smell, increased olfactory. Those are both the same. Prostration is a big one. That's a 3. Allergic reaction to bee stings. And I would usually give Apis for the, usually people have an anaphylactic shock to it, to a bee sting. You would give Apis, but apparently carbolic acidum also good for the bee sting. I don't know about the reaction here. I don't know. I know if it's anaphylactic, Apis is great for that, but if it's a lesser, I guess, one, it could be carbolic acid. I'm not sure. Never used it for it, but always used Apis for any kind of anaphylactic shock stuff. Terrible pains. That's a 3. Burning sensation. So here's that burning like with carbo veg and carbo animalis. Mental and body languor. So they're just, they can't function mentally or physically. They're very, they just have no energy to do anything. And that can be in flus, colds. That could be after a flu or cold. Oh, this is the mind. Sorry. Disinclination to study or do any work. So they just don't want to function in any way. Um, so this is, yeah, that is the mind. I mixed these up. And the modalities are worse from jar. So they can't take a jarring sensation. That's probably in the headache and things like that. Worse from reading, worse from pregnancy. Any pregnant woman having these headaches and that, it's very good for that. And vomiting and nausea and stuff like that. Combing of hair. So the hair obviously hurts. So there's that hair. And I think, was it Carbo Veg or Animalis? One of them had the pain in the hair, maybe both of them. Unfit for study. They just can't study. They can't think. They can't function physically, mentally. Reading makes symptoms worse. So when they try to read and try to do that studying and that, it just makes all the symptoms worse. Flatulence. So a lot of gas, just like the other carbs, carbo veg, carbo animalis, lots of gas in the belly. Probably distension and all that. Aching between scapula. So I don't know what this aching pain is, and I know anytime you have flatulence, the heart usually gets affected. It puts pressure on the heart. And I know if you have aching between the scapula back there, that one time I was trying, I had that aching, and my buddy, I seen him at a funeral, and he said, "Yeah, I had this pain in my back between my shoulder blades," and man, I thought I pulled a muscle or something. When he had a slight heart attack, I think. But anyways, I know I was having that pain. Yeah, I would have that pain, and I had a guy who was he called himself a Thai massage therapist, and uh, he'd crack all your bones, he'd crack your elbows, and he'd do all this with his feet. So I had him up there trying to put a bone in place that I thought was why I had this pain, and that wasn't it. I think he injured a rib and everything, but that pain behind the shoulders is a lot of times due to heart stuff. If you have a pain back there, man, you really want to get it checked. Severe orbital neuralgia over right eye. So they got a nerve pain in their right eye. Dusky. Dusky is a darker complexion. And they're pale about the nose and mouth. That's a 3. So that, they got a dark skin. They already have dark skin, but they have a pale patch around the nose and around the mouth. Discharges are offensive. Nitric acid, nux vomica, and sepia for that. And sepia also for uh, prolapsed uterus and that, and carbolic acid has that too. Pustules on vulva with bloody pus. So here's more infectious type of stuff going on, that causing these pustules and that in the vulva with pus, so, and that's usually, that pustules with pus. But anyways, everybody, what's a carbuncle? What's the pustule? What's a vesicle? What's a pimple? What's a, they got a lot of terms for these different things, and it individualizes them. But I probably should, in my community, I got to put out I started a list of what these things are, these different skin stuff. But they have pustules on there with pus coming out. Puerperal fever. So have during pregnancy, they have this a fever. They have the headache. They have all that kind of stuff. I think I read it in there. Appetite is lost. Desire stimulants and tobacco. So they want, that's a 3. They desire the, whatever, coffees, caffeine, whatever, some kind of stimulants. And they like tobacco. Disinclined to mental work. This is the head. Feels like a band around the head. And there's some, let me read these. Let me go back to the female a little bit. There's some neat stuff in here. Let's see. So I did the sepia and all that. Okay, so leukorrhea in the woman. I can't, I could have tried to fit some of that up there, but you run out of room. Leukorrhea is thick, causing itching. Leukorrhea in children. Cannabis sativa, which I did recently, mercury, pulsatilla, and sepia all have that leukorrheal thing. Puerperal fever, that fever during having a baby, when they're pregnant, I mean. Irritating leukorrhea causing itching and burning, creosote also. So, yeah, there's a lot of different medicines that can be used for a lot of this. Um, they have erosion of cervix. Where is it? For uterine displacement. So sepia and all that is a great woman's remedy. Remedy for all these woman issues. But creosote, sepia, pulsatilla, mercury, cannabis, sativa, nitric acid, nux vomica, sepia. It'd all be in these. You start looking up this stuff, and these remedies will all be in those different modalities that you look up in the repertory. Where was I? The head. Okay, here we go. Feeling as if compressed by a rubber band, better green tea and smoking. Gelsemium and mahonia are 2 medicines that would go with that. Feels like a rubber band around the head. Now, there was another one. It said feels like around the brain. Oh, that's at the end. Okay, so there's just a lot of different things in here that I really can't fit at this point. So I try to. There's the gelsemium and mahonia for this. With they want green tea and tobacco. It makes it feel better. Gelsemium mahonia with that band feeling around the head, and carbolicum acidum. Thready pulse. So the pulse is very weak and very not very strong. Let's put it that way. Headache. Oh, this is back in the head again. Headache with menses, if as if a hot ball on forehead. So it's just one area. I would imagine as it like feels like a hot ball. That's why I say a ball, because a ball has a very distinct area that is hot on the forehead. And like I said, a thready pulse in the heart. Irritable bladder of old men with frequent urination at night, and it can be from prostate stuff. Diabetes. Oh man, I wonder if that cat's got to go to the bathroom. You have to wait. Diabetes, and that this can be that uh, bladder stuff and all that stuff from diabetes, but definitely can be from prostate for with the older folks at night with the bladder, irritable bladder stuff. Yeah, that's it. Go lay down, kitty cat. Cramps in forepart of leg, front of leg, close to the tibia during walking. So they have these pains in the front of their leg during walking. gnawing pain in the shin bone, and any kind of arthritis in the limbs. You'd consider Carbolicum acidum. No liver, lungs, male. Mouth, intensely foul breath with constipation. And usually, if you eat 3 times a day, you should be going 3 times a day. And we don't get enough fiber in our diet. So when you're constipated, in your stomach, you're having stomach issues. We'll get to that. Stomach issues, you're going to have foul breath. People don't, to brush their teeth, they try to do it that way. But if you've got things rotting in your stomach, if you got, uh, you're not going to the bathroom, you're going to have a lot of uh, fermentation in your body, and that'll come out in the breath and in the uh, pores from the sweat and things like that. Burning in mouth to stomach. So there's a burning again, just like there is with the other carbons, carbo-veg, carbo-animalis. You have that burning, and this one's from the mouth to the stomach. And I think some of them, one I read recently, was from the stomach up to the mouth. So there's this burning sensation in the mouth, and it feels like it goes down to the stomach. Smell is very acute. That's a three, man. Smell just becomes very acute. Putrid discharges out of the nose, so that they stink. That's why I said there's a lot of smelly stuff, and that can be infections up there in the nose. Oceana, which is a sinusitis type of thing, with feeder and ulcerations. Feeder, and that smell, anyways, there's a lot of smelling coming out of there, and there's ulcerations, and these discharges stink. So, and there you got smells coming out of the mouth. Influenza resulting in debility. So, if you have the flu, this can be a good flu remedy. But I think they were giving what, Russ Tox for the flu there, and it wasn't doing it. And even you clear up the flu, they might have debility. Never well since is what that is. And that we had a never well since. There was a never well since with carbo veg, and I think it was carbo veg. I don't know about carbo animalis, but anyways, there's a never well since the flu. You'd consider carbolic acidum. Uh, and that's that debility afterwards. They're just never well since that flu. Constipation with retraction of abdomen. So it's not inflating, it's more or less retracting, and they just can't go to the bathroom. Their stools are shreddy, and they have very offensive breath, and that with that constipation, that's a three. So their breath stinks from it. Now, if they have diarrhea, it's like rice water. And this sounds like cholera. It's fetid, smells bad, and great tenesmus. Never feels like they're done. They're always got this diarrhea going on. Stools are thin, black, and putrid. Hmm, interesting. And I think the urine was black. Yeah, when I read it, I think it says the urine's black. Let me look at that kidney stuff. Bladder, frequent diabetes, green, scanty, dark, almost black urine. Green or dark, almost black urine. So black stool, black urine, not going to the bathroom, a lot of stomach stuff going on. Burning and itching, vesicles and pustules. That's pus coming out of them, vesicles. Anyways, they burn and ulcerate. So there's a lot of burning with this one, just like the other carbons. Um, erysipelas, bloody vesicles or pustules. So there's bleeding with all these things. Erysipelas is a skin infection. You got pustules, pus coming out, vesicles on the skin, and there's just a lot of burning and itching. It doesn't say whether it's worse, hot heat or heat of bed or anything like the other carbons. Very sleepy. So this person's very sleepy, and as you can see, this red marker's just about done. So that's why you probably can't see a lot of this. I don't even know if you can see it when it's all good anyways. Fermentative dyspepsia. So there's fermentation. That's why I say, and that's a three. A lot of fermentation in the belly, and they're having this heartburn. Dyspepsia is like his acid type of burping coming up. Constant belching, nausea, vomiting, especially also in pregnancy. That vomiting in pregnancy, you would consider Carbolicum acidum, along with other medicines, of course. Constant belching, nausea, and vomiting. Dark olive green substance when they vomit. and that's why like the it said the stools had it could be an olive green or dark stool, and they have a dark vomiting. So there's a lot of dark urine, black urine, or greenish black urine, flatulence with distension and heartburn. And all these things, is dark green, dark black, and all that, can help you to differentiate between carbolic acidum, and some other medicines, flatulence with distension. Oh, there's distension. So this constipation, there's a retraction of the abdomen. Must feel like a retraction. Let's see what rectum says. Offensive breath, great tenesmus, diarrhea, constipation with very offensive breath. That's a 3. Constipation with retraction of abdomen. So now, when they do have a lot of this gas in that dough, they have flatulence, a lot of gas, a lot of farting. Eructation is the burping. So flatulence is farting with distension and heartburn. So a lot of heartburn with this, and fermentation, and they're farting a lot. Stomach's distended like the other carbons. Profuse. I don't know what this abdomen being sunken in, pulled in. I don't know what's up with that. Anyways, glazed, ulcerated patches on the throat. Oh, temperature. They have profuse cold sweat. So did the other carbons. Glazed, ulcerated patches on inside of lips and cheeks. So glazed, shiny, basically. Ulcerated patches on inside of lips and cheeks. I would wonder if they're like whitish. I would think. I've seen them, them aphthous ulcers on the lips and that are white, but they're glazed, ulcerated patches. Burning in mouth to stomach. That's a 3. So that's, anyways. Putrid discharges from the mouth, from the throat, and the mouth, and the everywhere. Diphtheria from fetid breath, with fetid breath. So diphtheria is an infection in the throat, bacterial infection in the throat with smelly breath. Regurgitation on swallowing liquids, but with little pain. Baptisia has that. So there's a lot of regurgitation when they take in liquids, and there's a few medicines that have that. Was it phosphorus? I think phosphorus is one of that. As soon as the gets warm in the stomach, it comes up. But this one's immediately. As soon as they drink the liquid, no pain, but they regurgitate it. Baptisia also has that. Rapid sinking of vital force in diphtheria. So, yeah, diphtheria is quite a bad infectious disease, and carbolic acid is good for any kind of infectious stuff. Carbolicum acidum, which is carbolic acid. The pains of carbolic acid come suddenly. So they all come on suddenly. Now aconite has a suddenness to it too. There's a few medicines like that. They are burning, pricking, sticking. The urine is very hot, very dark, black, and black olive green, grass or olive green. So that's what the urine's looking like, really dark. So there's some kidney stuff going on there. And this, all that constipation, all that digestive problems, the what they call it, fermentation down there. There is a numbness and twitching. Putrid discharges are marked indications. So that all that fermentation, there's, whether you're sweating, whether it's coming out of the mouth, coming out of the nose, coming out of the anus, coming out of the urinary tract, lots of nasty smells. The skin is inflamed and other symptoms appear with burning. So the skin just has this burning sensation all over, tingling, itching, and numbness. Gangrene has been caused or has been cured by the application. He's got caused there. Cured by the application 2 to 5% carbolic acid with in water or whatever, alcohol maybe. But anyways, it's cured gangrene. Calendula is good for that. Solutions there is profound prostrate. 2 to 5% solutions. Okay, there is profound prostration and fatigue. So that's, they just can't. Gelsemium has that prostration and fatigue. There's a couple medicines you can think of that. But convulsions, collapse, cold, clammy sweat, constant yawning. Many poisoning cases show pneumonia. So whether you do it, whether they get poisoned by it, physically, like they did with them doctors doing surgery, or you get do a homeopathic proving, they get pneumonia-like symptoms. Whether it's a single or double affecting the bases principally. So, a double a double, one lung or both lungs of pneumonia. When they take this, do a proving of this, they were getting pneumonia symptoms in the lungs. It was prescribed by Dr. Streintz Fenenstock. He reports a case of poisoning observed by himself from inhaling the fumes. The patient, a woman feeling ill, ran across the street to a neighbor's. Before reaching the house, she fell prostrate, pale, gasping for breath. That sounds like carbo veg and all that. When taking in, she had to be propped up in order to breathe. Trembling all over, wanted her hands held, prickling like needles. There's that skin stuff all over the body, unable to raise arm. And this is from a poisoning. So you would, if she was poisoned like this, that this medicine in a sick person, and a person that has some kind of flu, cold, pneumonia, or whatever, and has these symptoms, carbolic acid will work. Wanted of a drink of water every few minutes. Nausea but no vomiting with this one. Pain in lumbar region. Symptoms lasted for hours. So now a lady has lumbar pains from menses and stuff like that. You would consider carbolic acid. It has been used with success in the vomiting of alcoholics of pregnant women. So whether it's vomiting of alcoholics, pregnant woman, you could think of ipecac with that too, with violent frontal headache. Great flatulent distension of the abdomen with belching of wind and desire for stimulants indicates the drug. So frontal headache, flatulence, distended abdomen, and desire for belching, lots of belching, and desire for stimulants indicates the drug. Palpitations of the heart at night has been cured by it. So yeah, they go to bed and they're having these palpitations. Carbolic acid would do it. Carb, Carbolicum acidum. It has relieved cases of cancer of the stomach. So this could be why all the flatulence and all the stuff, cancer of the stomach, and has apparently cured epithelioma, which is that skin infection of the cheek and nose with hemorrhages, which bleeding. Allen is another great homeopath that talks about that. Describe Deschere has found carbolic acid 30C of great service in uterine displacements, same with sepia, with or without discharges, but these, if present, are always offensive. The symptoms first relieved are agonizing backache. So that's why I say a lot of backache with this, across the loins with a dragging sensation down the buttocks into the thighs. Cooper regards it as a specific in influenza in the 3X for the attack. When they have that, give them 3X, and then 30C for the debility afterwards. So that's the dose, that's the potencies he would recommend. Okay, so let's get into comparatives. Gelsimium, which is that they're just not functioning, they're laying there. Mercury, sulfur in band-like headache. So these ones can be also considered along with carbolic acid in that band headache. Arsenicum, carbo-veg, arsenicum, a lot of burning and breathing, could be asthma stuff, and carbo-veg, a lot of breathing. China and creosote in burns, skin burns and that. Ulcers, unhealthy offensive discharges. Now, picric acid, tightly drawn band around iron band at base of brain compared to carbolic acid has this around the whole head. So picric acid, if they said it's just around the brain, carbolic acid if it's around the head. Antimonium tarpin variolinum. That's variolinum is the nosode of smallpox. So they took smallpox, made a nosode out of it, and then they give it back to smallpox patients in smallpox. So antimonium tarp, carbolic acid, and variolinum with smallpox. And we could be seeing some of that coming around. Who knows? There's a lot of diseases coming back. There's a whole another theory that I'm going through in miasms over the whole vaccination and all that stuff. And yeah. Anyways, chrysorobin, locally in ringworm of the scalp. That's another medicine. 5 to 10% in glycerin and alcohol, equal parts. So you're putting that on the head, that chrysorobin and carbolic acid also you can put on the head like that. Uh, Arsenicum, creosote, uh, carboanimalis, I think, carbo one of them. Guano, I think it's bat crap. For the violent headache, as from a band around the head, also itching of nostrils, back, thighs, genitals, symptoms like hay fever. So that's why I say arsenicum is a good hay fever, and so is carbolic acid could be in there. Antidoted by antidotes are alcohol, so vinegar, chalk, iodine, Glauber's salt, whatever that is. So you would give alcohol or vinegar or chalk or whatever, all these things, you'd give iodine to a person that was took this homeopathically, got poisoned by it, got the symptoms, you wrote them down, you'd give one of those to get rid of the symptoms. Glycerin and vegetable oils in burns from carbolic acid. Uh, Elias Price found milk give immediate relief from the burning of carbolic acid. He suggests copious draft milk in poisoning cases. So anybody that ingested it, copious milk, but glycerin and vegetable incompatible with glycerin and vegetable oil. Sorry. So to make a salve, you don't want to put any of them glycerin or vegetable oils on a carbolic acid burns. All right. So that's morning medicine. That's Carbolicum acidum. You can age, but you don't have to get old, depending on what you eat. You get enough fiber and stuff.